What's up, y'all? It's your guy, eBay Fight Predictions in the building. I don't know if you noticed, but I did post another live video. Didn't go too well, so I had to I had to start over again. But this is your UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Royval, 2 live full card predictions and betting breakdown, UFC Mexico City, baby. I have to do this kind of live so I can get this out. I didn't feel like kind of making an edited version of my regular full card predictions. So sometimes I do this if I'm in a rush. I do got work coming up, so I do got to go back to the normal world. But I will make this as quick as possible, and I will give you guys my betting breakdown and obviously my bets at the end of the video of what I'm going with. But here are my full card prediction for UFC Mexico City. Obviously, really good card. I really love it. But before we get into the card and before I break it down, go follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, and share the video. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. And yeah, if you haven't seen the vlog yet, go check out the vlog, man. It's a pretty good vlog. But yeah, man. Let's kind of break down this card. I'm a little late, by the way, so sorry about that. But let's break down this card, and I'm gonna give you guys my picks. And how I'm feeling about the card in itself. So, oh my bad, I'm not signed it, but yeah, curtain jerker of the night, baby. We got Muhammad Mayav and Eric Silva going at it. Should be a good fight in the 145-pound division. I lead towards Muhammad Mayav here. I actually have money on him. I think he's gonna win this fight predominantly. I think he is the better grappler here than Eric Silva. We actually saw what happened to Eric Silva in his last fight. I have Namaev in a parlay here. I think he's a good parlay piece. I think he wins this fight probably by submission. I think he can probably get the sub here. He's a bit of a lay and pray kind of grappler. But he has pretty good wins. I mean, the Nathaniel Wood fight is a little bit debated, but I mean, he knocked out Jamie Malarkey. He obviously has good power, good wrestling. I think he wins this fight by decision. And so, yeah, I'll be rocking with Muhammad Namaev by decision here over Eric Silva. I'll be rocking with this guy here. So, yeah, should be a great fight, though, nonetheless. Next up in the fights, we got Victor Altamirano versus Felipe Dos Santos. Phenomenal fight. I love this fight. It's going to be a good scrap. Obviously, we saw what Dos Santos was able to do against Victor Altamirano. And I just think Dos Santos. Oh, my bad. Not Victor Altamirano. We saw what Felipe Dos Santos was able to do to Manal Cap. He looked really good in that fight. I honestly feel like personally, I think Dos Santos has the edge here in the striking and the grappling. He does kind of come forward a lot. He does kind of, fight like it's Rock'em Sock'em Robot, but he kind of comes with that, Charles Oliveira mentality, right? Goes out there, breaks you down with striking. And if, you try to take him down, he has a good guard game. So I think Victor Altamirano is kind of outgunned in this matchup, honestly. I think Dos Santos is just the better fighter here. I am rocking with Dos Santos here. And also, I do have Dos Santos in a parlay, so I think he's a good parlay piece to have. I think Dos Santos gets the finish here, even though Altamirano's pretty good and pretty tough and durable. I wouldn't say he's good, but he's durable, he's tough. But I think I have a good feeling Dos Santos can finish here. I think he gets him out of there in the third round via TKO. Could be wrong. Wouldn't be surprised if Victor Altamirano does make it the distance with Dos Santos, but Dos Santos, he's game, and yeah, he comes to bang. So yeah, should be an interesting matchup. Another good fight. I'm actually kind of hyped up. Luis Rodriguez versus Dennis Bonder. Dennis Bonder hasn't had the greatest UFC success. He's lost I think his only 2 UFC fights. But this guy, Luis Rodriguez, man, he is a striker, man. He comes in there to really hurt dudes. Really decent submission ability, decent grappling. But my God, boxing's really good. And he's just one of those kind of he goes forward, puts in the pressure, and he's a fun fighter to watch. Really good pocket fighter. I got Luis Rodriguez here, probably by second round TKO. I think he gets the finish. Wouldn't be surprised if this fight does go the distance. Dennis Bonner will be looking to get the fight to the ground, looking for takedowns. But I mean, man, losing to Malcolm Gordon, bro, it ain't a good look. So I'll be rocking with Luis Rodriguez by second round TKO. So that's my pick there. Oh, good fight, man. Claudio Puelles versus Faris Ziam. Obviously, Claudio Puelles had a pretty good little run where he went, and then he met Dan Hooker. And that just wasn't a really good look for him at the end of the day. I mean, he didn't perform to his ability. I felt like Dan kind of made him look bad, in my humble opinion. He made him look like a bit of an amateur. I'm not gonna lie. It is what it is. Dan does that to a lot of people. You saw what he did to Gilbert Burns. I think Claudio Puelles is decent. I don't think he's a bum, but I do. Here's my issue with him, right? And both these guys have trained in the same area. Both these guys are Kill Cliff guys. I'm positive they both have at least trained at Kill Cliff because I've seen both of them on their Instagrams. But so I think they do have some experience with each other in terms of sparring, and they know how each other goes. But I've seen Ziam lose fights, but Ziam in this kind of matchup with another striker and a guy that can't really dictate where the fight goes in terms of grappling and in terms of really wrestling, getting the fight to the ground is probably Claudio Puelles' biggest issue. He's not going to be such a threat to him if he can keep the distance, if he can keep the spacing, and if he can make this fight really, really a bit of kind of like I go, you go kind of striking match. And if he can get it to that kind of distance of, controlling range and obviously controlling Claudio Puelles with the jab and dictating the grappling situations, I think he's in a pretty good position to win a 30-27 decision. Claudio Puelles he hasn't fought in a year and 3 months, which isn't a good look. And just to get treated like that, Dan Hooker's a ranked lightweight fighter. And we know how good Dan Hooker is, but at the end of the day, man, he got treated like an amateur. So I think Ziam wouldn't get treated like that by Dan Hooker. I really believe that. So I'm going to be rocking with Faris Ziam by decision over Claudio Puelles. I just think the striking acumen that he has, and obviously the ability to control range, and also big thing here, 3-inch reach advantage. I just think it kind of goes to his favor. So I got Ziam by decision here over Claudio Puelles. Now this fight here, Edgar Chavez versus Daniel Lacadera. I don't know how many times this fight has been booked. I feel like this is number 3, right? It should be an interesting fight. I'm rocking with Daniel Lacadera just based on fuck it. The guy is almost winning a lot of fights, and I think he actually wins this fight against Edgar Chavez. I think Daniel is more explosive than him, and I do think he's the better fighter. I think he just has probably one of the worst fight IQs I've seen in the game in a long time. So you can't be too mad at him for that. But hey, it is what it is. I think Daniel wins the fight though. I really do. Yeah, man, I do think Edgar does have a bit of advantage in grappling, and obviously, when the fight gets to the ground, I do think Edgar might be the better grappler out of the two, and he's a little tougher. But I just think the explosiveness of Daniel Lacadera should be the difference maker in the matchup here. So should be interesting though. I don't have anything on the fight, but I got Daniel Lacadera by a finish. I'm gonna say second round TKO. He gets him out of there. But should be a good fight though, and hopefully we see a Lacadera victory. So yeah. Next fight, Jesus Aguilera versus Matheus Mendoca. I don't know. So obviously Mendoca's a slight favorite, and I get why. Jesus Aguilera looked amazing against Shannon Ross, but obviously we saw what happened when he fought Tasu Tari. I think Matheus Mendoca, he's had 2 fights that haven't really represented him in the UFC, the Nate Maness fight and obviously the Javid Basharat fight. But both those fights, I feel like he fought really high level comp, especially, the Javid Basharat fight. But I think in this matchup here, I think he gets to show how good he is. I think his length and his ability to control distance and his explosiveness and his power. Obviously, he does fight out of Charles Oliveira's camp, and so they do come to they come to die or they come to win. So it's gonna be like that in terms of the matchup. I think Medos is he's gonna be looking for the knockout shot, and he does the right things. He uses the long jab to set things up, and my God, big reach advantage for Medusa Mendoka. So I think the long arms of Medusa Mendoka should favor him here. Obviously, reach, range, those are things I kind of look at in terms of picking fights. And obviously, skills pay the bills, but honestly, I truly believe here. I think Medusa Mendoka is the better fighter. I think Matthews I put a unit on him to get the victory on his money line. I think he's coming off of 2 losses and against good competition. I think he wants to win his next fight. And then if you watch the Nate Maness fight, he's actually doing really good in that fight. And then it just ended up not going his favor. So yeah. So next up though, next fight, we will be going with Christian Quinones versus Ronnie Barcelos. A really good fight in the 135-pound division. I love it. I think this is a good step down in terms of competition for Ronnie Barcelos. I thought the Umar Nurmagomedov fight did him no favors at all. I thought they put him in a position to lose, in my humble opinion. But hey, it is what it is. I think Barcelos. Here's the thing. Barcelos beats this kid in a lot of areas. He's the better striker, he's the better grappler, and he's the more skilled fighter, in my opinion. Christian Quinones has the advantage of youthfulness. He's a lot younger, 27 years old, entering his prime. He hasn't been as battle tested as Ronnie Barcelos, but he hasn't been as damaged as Ronnie Barcelos. I mean, Ronnie, he's coming off 2 losses to Kyler Phillips and Umar Nurmagomedov, and that Umar Nurmagomedov KO in particular was so insane. And his last one is against Trevin Jones, who's not even in the UFC anymore. So it's kind of hard situation he's in, but I mean, he's a great wrestler. He has good striking. I think he can outpace Christian Quinones here, even though it should be an interesting fight. And I kind of want to see where Ronnie Barcelos' chin is at, but he was able to take some of the shots from Kyler Phillips pretty well, so I wasn't too surprised there. But I think Ronnie Barcelos does win this fight, and I think he wins it by decision. So I got Ronnie Barcelos by decision in this matchup here. Next fight, Manuel Torres versus Chris Duncan. The whole hood is rooting for Mr. Manuel Torres. I didn't like Chris Duncan's last fight. Well, not the Yanel Ashmov fight, but especially the Omar Morales fight. I wasn't a big fan of that. I did not like how he fought that fight, but this is a really even fight. Obviously, I think Chris Duncan's going to be wrestling for his life, and Manuel Torres is going to be looking to knock him out. I think Duncan's chin is a little. Obviously, we've seen him get knocked out by Borchev before, but I do think his chin is a little compromised. I think Manuel Torres does win this fight. I actually think he wins it in the second round via TKO. But I would not be surprised if Chris Duncan fucking shoots for his life and gets the takedowns he needs to get. But I do got Manuel Torres here by second round TKO. Next fight, Yasmin Yaragua versus Sam Hughes. Obviously, everyone loves Yasmin. Big favorite here. I didn't really put any money on her. She's coming off a pretty bad, devastating loss, but I do think she wins this fight against Sam Hughes. I would. I mean, I might. I don't know. My opinion might change going into fight week. Maybe Friday, Saturday, I might sprinkle maybe a unit on Yasmin. But currently, right now, in terms of bets that I have on paper, I do not have nothing on Yasmin. I do think she wins this fight, but getting knocked out the way she got knocked out in her last fight against Dennis Gomez, I don't know. It's just you kind of want her to, get her feet ready. You know what I'm saying? Get her feet wet is a better way to describe it. Let's see where she's at. Let's see how she performs, and let's see if she's like fade material, or you put the bank on her if she looks pretty good. But yeah, this is just kind of a fight. I just want to see where Yasmin's at. I think Sam Hughes is a good opponent for her. Obviously, a step down in competition from her last fight, just to kind of see where she's at. But I think she's the better striker here, and I don't think Sam Hughes has enough power to hurt her. And yeah, I think she could bully Sam Hughes. She is, I think, a little bigger than her. Am I pretty? Yeah, no, actually, she's not. She's not bigger than her, but she fights as if she's bigger than her. If you know what I'm saying, she does fight with a high level aggressiveness, and I think Sam Hughes is. We've seen her wilt. We saw when she fought Tisha Torres, she kind of quitted a little bit. I think Yasmin can do the same thing here. So I got Yasmin by decision over Sam Hughes. Next fight, Raul Rosa Jr. versus Ricky Turquoise. Interesting fight. I think this is a good fight for Ricky. I mean, being 19 years old in the UFC, it's a tough thing to do. And when you're given all this kind of competition, all this hype, all this, oh, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. It causes a lot of stress. And I think the UFC has learned that, okay, maybe giving him fucking D Rod so cool, Christian Rodriguez so quick, wasn't the best idea of all time. And obviously, we saw what happened. But when he fights guys under his skill level, he does perform really well. We saw what he did to Terrence Mitchell. We saw what he did to Jay Pran, and I think Ricky Turquoise kind of falls into that kind of picture. He's kind of like a yelling point striker. He yells when he throws punches and kicks, and I don't know if that kind of sways the judges into his favor, but that's what he does. He's really not that great in terms of being a bantamweight in the UFC bantamweight division. Raul Rosa Jr. has a lot of potential. I feel like good wrestler. I do think he's young, a little too young for the UFC, but I mean, he is a really good grappler. And obviously he is growing into his man body, good power. He showed that against Terrence Mitchell, got the knockout there. He's athletic. He's big for the division 259. But yeah, I think he should be able to grapple fuck Ricky Turquoise. I actually think this fight goes the distance. I think Ricky's good enough to make this fight go the distance. And I got Raul Rosa Jr. here by decision. But should be a good fight though, nonetheless. Next fight, Daniel Zuber versus Francisco Parado. This is a good fight. I'm rocking with Francisco Parado. I've been kind of fading Daniel Zuber for a bit. He almost got knocked out in the first round against Christos Gagos, but he is good. He's a good fighter. He's a good prospect to look out for. I'm not hating on the kid, but I do think he's fade material. Francisco Prado looked really good in his last fight. I think he's going to bring the fight to Daniel Zuber, and I think he gets the finish, honestly. Zuber's super tall, and he does leave his chin in the air a little bit. But I mean, good knees up the middle, good grappling, good jab. He's a long guy. He knows how to use it. But I mean, his loss to I know it was his debut, but his loss to Trey Ogden has never left my mind. So I'm actually rocking with Francisco Prado here by TKO finish in the second round. I think he catches him, but should be a good fight though. If he doesn't win, he doesn't win. It is what it is. In the co-main event, Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega too. I have a breakdown coming out on this. So yeah, I lean Yair Rodriguez. I have a unit on Yair to win this fight via TKO or KO by any means necessary, or in any round he needs to do so. I think Yair. I picked Yair in the last fight. Now they're running it back. I know it was an injury, but I think Yair's just better than Brian Ortega, just simply. And I go more in depth in my breakdown, so go check that out. That should be coming out later tonight, hopefully, or in the morning. But I think Yair Rodriguez just has Brian Ortega outgunned in the striking, and I think Yair can keep this fight on the feet as long as he needs to. And I don't think Brian Ortega has the wrestling to put it on the mat. So I got Yair Rodriguez by a third round TKO, but should be a good fight though. Sorry about that, y'all. Dude, I'm just using StreamYard. I know this is about to be looking a little messy right now, but my bad for the technical difficulties. But yeah, so let's get the main event in order. So, but yeah, man, obviously Brandon Royval versus Brandon Moreno should be a good fight. The rematch. I kind of break it down here. I just think Moreno, he's the better grappler. He's the better pocket boxer. Brian Royval is good. The first fight went the way it went, but Moreno's winning the fight, in my humble opinion. Obviously, the striking exchanges should be interesting from Royval if he can make it a little interesting. Obviously, he's gotten a lot better on the feet. I mean, his knockout over Matheus, is it Nicolau? No, it's not Nicolau. What is it? Yeah, Matheus Nicolau was pretty impressive. Yeah, it is. But I just think Moreno's a lot more skilled. He's the skilled striker, obviously the skilled boxer, and grappling wise, I just think Brandon Moreno could control Royval. We saw Pantoja do it, and we saw Moreno did it in the first fight. But it should be interesting though. Rematches are always interesting. Maybe Royval can make this a different fight. But Royval against the real top 5 competition besides Matheus Nicolau, he's taken L. So I just don't think Royval wins this fight. I have Brandon Moreno probably by decision. I think Moreno's the side here, and I do have Moreno in my parlay. So we are kind of done with the predictions. I have Moreno by decision, by the way. But yeah, so I will be giving you guys my bets for UFC Mexico City. This is what I'm kind of rocking with. I'm rocking with the +3 units parlay of Moreno, Dos Santos, and Miyav, then a +1 unit on Yair Rodriguez to win against Brian Ortega via knockout or TKO +200, and then also obviously +1 unit on Mateus Mendoca money line. So those are kind of my bets. So yeah, sorry for the little live impromptu video. I know this is probably gonna look like trash, but I just had to get this out. I was really behind. Obviously, the breakdown for Yair Rodriguez and Brian Ortega will be coming out, but next week it's gonna be a little different, a little more organized. The vlog and obviously traveling from LA to Oakland just kind of messed things up. But hey, it is what it is. We're here. But yeah, sorry for how clunky this looks, but hey, it is what it is. Go follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, share the video. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. Love y'all and goodbye. Appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. And if you guys watched it live, hey, it is what it is. Love y'all. Goodbye. It's your boy. I'm out of here.